Next up, at UFC 294, we have Trevor Peek taking on Mohammad Yahya. Trevor Peek, 8-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that first loss of his career. He's taking on Mohammad Yahya, 12-3 overall, riding a 5-fight win streak into his UFC debut. Mohammad Yahya is a pacing striker. He likes to stand tall, keeps his hands low. He's got that traditional martial arts stance. He's going to stand wide. He's going to bounce in and out of range. He's got an okay chin. And while he does like to plot forward, he does not throw very much. He can be a bit low volume. He does have a little bit of power, though, and he can find himself hunting for it in fights. Not much in the way of wrestling offense, but he will look to hold you against the cage if he's losing some of the striking exchanges. Taking on Trevor Peek. This guy is a wild man. High-pressure fighter. Only knows one pace. He keeps his hands open and literally just starts winging punches and charging forward. If he's close, he's going to grab your legs. He's going to try to take you down. If he's at distance, he's going to move in all directions, bomb away, and try to work in. Not very technical. Skill-wise, not very clean. But he's high pressure. He'll take one. He'll give one. He can break a lot of people. He's coming off that loss to Chepe Mariscal where the biggest red flag was Trevor's inability to defend the takedown. He had no hips, no takedown defense, and just really didn't do anything when Chepe made those entrances. But he did showcase his chin. This guy has a freaking chin on him. When I saw Trevor Peek was fighting a 12-3 guy, and at the time the money was even, I was like, let me jump on this other dude. And then I watched the tape. I almost placed the bet blind while doing the graphics. So my cycle is I do all of the graphics a full week ahead of time. And then throughout the week, I do my research. I take my notes. I get my picks, bets, all that. I do the graphics are the first.
How many times do you usually eat in that time?
I'm like a snake. Just one big meal, and that'll hold me for 3-4 days. So when I was doing the graphics, and I was typing up the records and doing all this, I was like, I did this picture. Look at the picture of this guy.
What guy?
And it was on the right, Mohammad Yahya.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
intimidating, I would say. Looks like
he's a legit
300, yeah.
He's a legit local from Abu Dhabi. And I was like, Trevor Peek, fade. This is going to be perfect. Even money, this line's about to take off. And then I watched the tape, and I was like, shit, this guy gets hit. He doesn't wrestle. How the hell is he going to win this fight? So, unfortunately, I am on the Trevor Peek side. I don't want to be. I definitely want to be on the other side. But what I will say to all of you, there are some people out there dumping massive amounts of money on Trevor Peek. And that is crazy to me. That is crazy. He's not very good. He can be very good eventually. He's just not there yet. He's still trying to figure out the skills. He is tough. But he's fighting in enemy territory against a local guy who does have a decent amount of experience. And we just watched Trevor Peek get beat bell to bell. And you're going to dump that kind of money on him? I'm not touching it. But I do think Trevor Peek is going to win because he hits hard. He's got a chin. And unfortunately, Muhammad gets hit and doesn't wrestle. If he had just this much wrestling, I would get it done. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of nailed this breakdown. Trevor Peek is going to be my pick, but I mean, I agree. Putting crazy amount of money on this guy, this is going to be one of those situations where, kind of like I said, Irina last week, right? Where Irina is a hands low, come forward, brawling style, and I said that this is going to go very, very well, or it's going to go very, very poorly. And for a while, it looked like it was going very, very well. She dropped the girl, looked like she was having control. It looked like she was about to get a first-round finish. The same thing could happen in this fight. Trevor Peek comes through, blitz forward, gets in his face, drops him, looks like he's having success. But if this gets out of the first round, things could get very interesting. Not only could things get interesting if this is out of the first round, but even in the first round, Trevor Peek is a guy that comes forward, hands low, will take a shot to give a shot, and Yahya is a guy that level of competition has been great. He can get dropped, but he is a capable striker, and anybody that is a capable striker can hit the chin of Trevor Peek because he just serves it on a platter. He just stands in front of you with his hands low, just swinging wild, and Yahya is a guy that can snipe people who pressure him. I've seen it in fights before. We kind of harped there. We kind of hated, I mean, I did, when we watched that UFC Paris card, all those French fighters, right? All those French fighters are just slow, methodical, and they want to stay at range, and they don't like the pressure.
Style.
Right. That is how Mohammad Yahya fights. It's just kind of around the outside. He's just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. But if he's waiting and waiting and Trevor gets too aggressive, he is capable enough to put this guy's lights out. I know Trevor's peak, his chin has kind of held up, but he's been getting dropped. He's been getting hit, and eventually your chin just doesn't hold up. We see it with Drew Dober. I mean, eventually you just can't take all those shots. So my pick is Trevor Peek. I do have a little bit of action on him, not as much as a lot of people, but he is not a guy that you really can trust. I mean, if this was a card where a lot of these big, Russians were minus 250 instead of minus 400, I don't think anybody would give a fuck about Trevor Peek. There's just so many minus 450, minus 500, minus 600. People are seeing this guy with the finishing ability, and they're jumping all over him. Yeah, he might come through, blitz forward, get the finish, and cash everyone's money, but, I mean, he does get hit. He is not very technical, and he really has no backup plan. So, I'm going Trevor Peek here, but I agree with pretty much what you said.
Yeah, no, he's tough as hell, and watch him come out, win by knockout, and the people who spend hundreds of dollars on him are going to think that they're geniuses.
If
but
it's a bad bet. Money, I think at dog money, that was a very good dog bet. But now at minus 160 and stuff, it's like, if you're going to play him, you might as well just play him inside the distance, or maybe even just first round, and you still get plus money on him, I'm pretty sure. So the money line doesn't make sense to me. Inside the distance right now for Trevor Peek is, drumroll please, Angelo. Minus 115, so it's not plus money anymore, but I still think that's better. Minus 115's, I mean, still going to be better value than the money line, and he's probably going to win inside the distance if he wins. So,
yeah, either way, I mean, Trevor Peek's an exciting, fun guy to watch. This is not, we're not disparaging fan-wise.
I noticed also, too, that you took every opportunity to trash every lock of the week that lost. But when Chepe came up, you didn't mention that overly dominant performance he put on.
Because I also picked Chepe to win, and I bet on him. So, and for all we know, you tailed it because I had it first. So you might have tailed it. Anyway, $8,200 in DraftKings, $8,000 in DraftKings. You probably need one of these guys in your lineup, honestly. $8,200 if Trevor Peek wins. He's going to put this dude's lights out, and he's going to put up some decent numbers. $8,200 is even money in DraftKings. You're probably going to need him in your lineup. I think he's a little risky to spend real life money on, but if you're doing a cash entry in DraftKings, he might be worth it. If you're doing a large tournament, you might want to play both sides because he could potentially be the dud.
Oh, here you go. Because somebody mentioned in the chat, I did place this bet. You can't get it anymore, but here you go. Here's some value here. I did kind of play a little bit safer with Trevor Peek inside the distance decisional action because he is a tough dude, right? Yeah, we saw him lose a decision if he wins inside the distance. I got it for minus 150. That is now minus 250 for inside the distance decisional action. So got that early.
Congratulations. Well, that is impressive.
WeWantPicks.com, $10 a month.
$10 a month. You can see that. And literally everything else. It is the most impressive premium offering on the planet. End of story. Everybody else is going to offer you some Patreon. You know what a Patreon is? You guys ever see a Patreon? It's like an old Facebook page with some text. It sucks.
I'm not gonna let you disparage old Facebook because back in the day, I don't know if you were you able to get on Facebook back in the day? Because back in the day, it used to be a very exclusive club. You had to have a college email.
Yeah, I went to college. I don't know where this whole thing is coming from.
Well, I don't know if that's verified. I don't know if that's verified, but I remember it was a very exclusive thing to be able to have Facebook. So we appreciate it.
Okay. Congratulations. Michael says, where is it?
Where would you put me?
Shut up. He says, why did he open at minus 400? And he says, what are we missing? I don't think we're missing anything. I think people did what I did while I was making the graphics. I think they set the line by watching Trevor Peek's last fight, seeing that Mohammad Yahya is a local guy, regional champion, 12-3 record, and they set the line. And then people did the research and said, nope. And then that line collapsed on itself.
Did you had MySpace, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have your top? What was it? What was your number?
I don't remember. It might have been 8.
Yeah, you could have 4, you could have 8, you could have 16, and I think that eventually they expanded to maybe even, I don't know if it got more than 16, but all the popular people had the 16, and then you see it moving in and out. That was always the thing after Friday night, after Saturday night, because we would we would party Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. You would wake up Sunday, you would go. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, honestly, Angelo, and this is going to be a little bit mean, but when I was 20, 21, 22, I wouldn't have been fucking friends with you. I mean, there's no way. There's no way that you would have been able to be friends with me.
I think it's pretty well established.
There is no chance. I was Mr. Party Scene. I'm in the clubs. I'm in the middle of the dance floor. I set the tone for the parties at 20, 21, 22, 23,
in that glow up video I put together. How old were you in those?
Well, I just turned 25, so.
Okay. Yeah, those were super
But I'm
old.
saying right now, that was the big thing back in the day was you'd wake up Sunday and Monday and you'd go to certain people's MySpace and be like, did I move up? Did I move down? What's going on here? It was always a big thing to kind of set your top. I only had a top 4. I didn't want to make people feel bad, So I had 4, which I think was my, because I had 3 roommates. So I think it was 3, and then I can't remember who was the 4th one. But it was always exciting when you would start hanging out with a girl, and all of a sudden you move from 8 to 7. It's like, okay, here we go. Now you're 7 to 5. It's like, now we're starting to work on something here. Now you're in the top 4, Angelo. She's putting you in the top floor. Next day, if a girl puts me in the top 4, next time I see her, the dick's already out, Angelo. I got the zipper undone. The dick's already out. Here you go. This is what you wanted. Top 4.
Jesus Christ. No, he's not 25. He's fucking 38. Some stupid shit like that.